Welcome to TORAH Talk. I am your host, William Hall, broadcasting live out of Kingsland, Texas, USA, with episode number 2 of Kosher Kitchen with Rabbi Chayim Zirkind. Welcome back to the show, my sweet Rabbi. How are you? How are you today?
Thank God. How are you?
I am doing great, Baruch Hashem. I'm excited to get this second episode going. I know we've been threatening it for a while, and it's good to be back up and running. You know, it's got to be. It always messes with something. You never know, right? So that's cool.
We as humans, we have to find something to blame, something wrong. We forget about God for some odd reason. We think it must be this reason or that reason. We sort of forget that there's a God that runs the show, and we have to comfort ourselves by saying it must be this or it must be that. Maybe it's just not meant to be sometimes.
Yeah, I hear you. That's funny. You know, when I called you earlier, I'm going to drop this out there right now. When I called you earlier, you were busy doing something. Why don't you tell everybody out there exactly what it was that you were doing that was so important that you couldn't take my call?
Well, actually, let's rephrase that, because it actually is the famous story with this person asked Hillel from the Talmud. He asked him, "Teach me the Torah. I want to convert. Teach me the Torah." So Hillel said, the basis of the Torah is to love your fellow just as yourself.
Nice.
That is the basis of the Torah. Everything else is just interpretation. Go learn. So from there, many Talmudic discussions have come up that the entire Torah is basically to love a fellow. It's not about, it's also about keeping kosher and putting on tefillin and keeping Shabbos and things like that. But the main thing is, if you love another person just as yourself, then you got the right thing going.
Nice.
So nobody could ever say, "I don't have time for you." Unless you're saving another person's life, then that should not be the response, because we always want, when we call somebody, we want them to answer when we call. So let's try to have the same respect both ways. So it's not that I did not have time for you. It's just that I was in the middle of checking a pair of tefillin. Tefillin are phylacteries that Jewish men wear from the age of bar mitzvah onwards. I will actually show you what I'm talking about. This, if you can see, is the headpiece of the tefillin. It's open now because I was checking. Inside, there are 4 portions, there are 4 scrolls, which have to do with the tefillin that says in the Torah. The first one is the Shema, the first paragraph, and then the second paragraph, and the other 2 are from another two portions of the Torah that speak about tefillin. So every year we check them to make sure that the letters have not faded, so on and so forth. If you hang on 1 second, I will show you what a parchment looks like. Just give me 1 second.
Okay. This is cool. So, so my explanation of him not taking my call was clearly fabricated. I just thought it was a good teaser for what he's fixing to do. All right, go ahead.
So now, let me show you. Okay. So, in each compartment of the headpiece, there is a scroll that looks like this. We make sure that what I check for is to make sure that all the letters are black and that letters aren't touching or smudged in any way. Because if they're non-kosher, then we did not fulfill the mitzvah of putting on tefillin. So therefore, it's a good thing to check to make sure that they're kosher. And every year we usually check them around the high holidays, since we're going into the high holidays and asking God for a good year. So we try to make sure that all the mitzvahs that we do are in shape, so that we do our part and ask God to do His part. Not to compare, but similar, when somebody is taking a long journey, you usually have the car inspected. You drive it every day to work. You don't worry about it then. But when you go take it on a long trip, on a long journey, you're kind of worried, make sure all the parts are working. So sort of the same idea, that before the high holidays, before we go into this time of year where we're asking God to forgive us and ask God to give us a healthy and a happy and all the good stuff for the year, for the upcoming year. We take care of our part, and that's to make sure that we do all the mitzvahs that we're supposed to do, that we do them as best and as best as we possibly can. So we check them to make sure that there is nothing missing or broken. So that's what I was doing. So it wasn't that I didn't have time for you, just that this person has to put on tefillin tomorrow morning, so he gave them to me after davening, after services this morning. He said, can I have him back for tomorrow on time for tomorrow morning services? So I said yes. So that's why I just wanted to make sure that he has his tefillin for tomorrow morning.
Nice.
I know that this, interestingly, all the parts of the tefillin are made of a kosher species, because it says it has to be kosher in your mouth. The word is mutter beficha, that it has to be kosher in the mouth, meaning to say that the straps, the boxes, the parchment, everything has to be made from a kosher species. It's all made out of from a kosher animal. It doesn't mean that the animal is slaughtered. That it doesn't have to be slaughtered, but they're all from a kosher species. Even we'll say the thread, which is not really thread, is actually, this is what it looks like if you can see it. It's a sinew from a kosher animal. It's pounded down and made into, it looks like almost like a twine.
Interesting, yeah.
And that's what we sew it with. Even the sewing has to be from a kosher species, so it's not sewn with thread or anything. It's sewn from with sinews from a kosher animal.
Gotcha.
Now you got your crash course and tefillin. And this looks like now a mezuzah. People are under the impression this mezuzah is not kosher; it has smudges. But this is what a larger mezuzah looks like. What we put up on the doorpost. Right. It's not the case that makes a difference; it's the scroll that makes a difference. You can have a beautiful case, but no scroll in it. We did not fulfill our command. We did not fulfill the commandment of God's commandment to put on a mezuzah.
Gotcha. Well, cool. Well, I'll tell you what. Thanks for that 101. We'll do a little show, maybe half-hour show or something on tefillin and mezuzah soon. Maybe we'll see how we can get that pulled off. I'll say. So this week on our Kosher Kitchen, what agenda are we taking? I know I get random questions.
So we can go to and ask questions.
My turn. Gotcha. Well, first of all,
I'll tell you why. Because most of it is it's relatively. I'll say the word simple. It's not simple, but it's relatively easy to read, to learn. But many people have questions of what happens if I did this at home?
Right.
Do I have to throw out my refrigerator? Do I have to burn down the house? No, never burn down your house because you screwed up kosher.
Right.
Because I don't think the insurance company is going to appreciate that. You don't sign a clause. If I make the house trade, I burn the house down. No, I don't think so.
Right. That's funny.
So we'll let you ask the questions.
Okay, so basically the phone lines are open. Numbers on your screen, 855-95-BIBLE. That's 855-952-4253. If you have any questions regarding Kosher Kitchen, you can even, if you don't have a Kosher Kitchen question, you can ask about kosher in general. That will be just fine. So be sure to call in. Meanwhile, I'll just carry on a conversation with Rabbi.
I just want to say, I know I told you to ask questions and I interrupted you. I hope you get used to it.
Of course.
We go to the store today and you find everything has a kosher symbol on it. Not everything, but a lot of things have a kosher symbol. Even take, for example, a simple thing as water would have an OU on it, would have some kosher mark on it. You start wondering, like, why does water need to have a kosher mark on it?
Yeah,
and
right.
I cannot have a kosher mark on this. Actually, where it says that it's what the reason why they put it on is really for Passover, because they want to make sure that the containers were clean that are used that do not have any type of alcohol that will leach out into into the water. So that's why they have a kosher symbol on that. But there are many things that have kosher symbols, and there are many kosher symbols. Some of them are legit, and some of them are, it's a business. That's what it is. So you really, just because it has a kosher mark on it, doesn't necessarily mean that that it's really, really kosher, because some of them do not have really high standards. In other words, they're not so concerned about things. They, to them it's like KE, kosher enough. So they'll put on their kosher symbol. So one has to be careful with the kosher symbols that they are reliable, they are legit. There are websites where a person could type in and say, is a source for reliable kosher symbols, and the different websites will come up, and they'll have lists of who are reliable and which ones aren't. So that's also important to understand, that not every kosher symbol is a reliable symbol, especially the things that really need them, like meats, poultry, fish, wines, and dairy products. Those are things that do need a reliable kosher symbol on it. That's in the Code of Jewish Law. Those are 5 things that must have a reliable mark, a reliable symbol on them. So if you go to the store and you don't know, if you're not familiar with kosher marks, it's very important to go online, get a list of reliable kosher symbols, and try to match them up. Because just because something has a K on it does not mean that it's a reliable symbol. People have told me it has OC on things, or it has an OR. I tell them that has nothing to do with the Orthodox rabbis. That has to do with the trademark. The OC and the OR, as you can see, on everything has an OR. It's always great to pick up a container that has nothing on it. It's my luck, that it doesn't.
Yeah, my wife just pulled me one too. She just gave this here.
Yeah, I have that luck.
This says okay, which means it's from Oklahoma. I'm just kidding.
I can't see you, so
that's okay.
So yeah, I'm sure it is okay.
Right.
That's why I don't shave. I'm afraid to look in the mirror. I hate to see myself.
You're crazy.
That's what it's all about. You have to be a little crazy, otherwise there's no fun in living.
Yeah, there you go.
And what's the definition of crazy? What's the definition of normal? But back to the topic at hand. So the OU is okay. I'm not I'm not advertising for anyone, but the OU is those are naturally recognized. The OK, the star K, the Chav K, those are like naturally recognized. But the other ones, always be careful. Just double check, make sure it's reliable. You go on the website. If you buy something, you say, especially when you're first starting out keeping kosher and you're like trying to do the best you can, you just want to make sure you're doing the right thing. Go online. Ask for reliable kosher symbols, and you'll get a printout of all the kosher symbols. There are quite a few, but at least you'll have an idea. And you can also look, like, let's say it says the product is from Canada, and it's like, let's say the COR, that's from Toronto. There's a COR from Toronto. So at least you'll be familiar. Okay, that's from Toronto. This product is from Toronto. That's reliable. So at least you'll get an idea of where they're from, so you could see if it's a kosher thing. Because there are products from out of the country, and how do you know if it's kosher? Just because it says something that resembles a K. So it's always good to have the list. Even when you go shopping, you get used to starting off. It's good to get familiar with it. Take with the list. You take with the shopping list anyway. Might as well take that just to double check to be happy and safe that you know that you're doing the right thing.
Okay, so here's a question for you, because everybody has seen pictures, videos, ideas of the kosher kitchen having 2 dishwashers.
That's why I buy the books for the pictures. Yeah, go on.
So that you have 2 dishwashers, 2 stoves, and 2 sets of silverware for milk and meat and all this other stuff. Are there ways around that for someone who maybe is going to convert, but they can't afford a $20,000 kitchen?
Something like the average person that cannot afford 2 dishwashers. Yes,
Yeah.
I don't have 2 dishwashers. I'm lucky if I have one, which I don't because I don't like the. We used to have it. I just don't like the way they clean it. It doesn't clean it that well. It leaves its film, but that's a separate issue. You do not have to have 2 dishwashers. You do not have to have 2 stoves. You don't have to have 2 refrigerators. Unless you have some serious money and you're really serious about it and you like the idea of having 2 kitchens, hey, buy 2 houses if I was you. Buy one for when you're going to have dairy, sleep in that house tonight. If you're going to have meat, sleep in that house tonight. If you have some serious money, that's what you want to do. Go for it. I'm not going to stop you. But most people, reality sets in. So we have 2 sets of dishes that we have to have. We have to have 2 sets of silverware. We have to have because those are primary things. Those aren't luxury. Those are necessities.
Right.
So what you do is like this. You figure out what is the most common dish you eat. Is it a meat or is it a dairy meal?
Mm-hmm.
Like we have meat. We have very little dairy. So we have, basically the kitchen is meat. For the dairy, we have a little toaster oven, and we use basically plastic and paper plates for that because everything's going to go in the toaster oven. So we don't have a separate dishwasher. We don't have just a little toaster oven. That's for dairy because we don't do that much dairy. But primarily we do meat. So since we use meat, so the kitchen is mainly for meat. The refrigerator, as long as you keep things separate, you don't have to have, a whole separate refrigerator. Just keep things separate. See where you could put your dairy products on one side or on one shelf and put the meats on another shelf, another side, that they don't drip and mix that way, then you're fine. So I've seen people, what they do is they actually buy a little, almost like a little little plastic box, almost like they make that like a drawer for all their meat, that because they're afraid of it running all over the place, they put it in a little tray and they put it in the refrigerator. Those are good ideas. If you're going to have things that run, put it on a tray or something like that so it doesn't run all over the place. First of all, you have to worry about cross-contamination. You have meat dripping all over the place and you have vegetables and things like that. That's not healthy either. So it's a good practice to put things that are dripping, put it in a container that it doesn't drip all over the place, and especially when you're trying to keep kosher, things are dripping, milk could drip down, whatever, so put that in somewhere like a container that it doesn't drip all over the place.
All right, let's go and take this call. Caller, welcome to the show. Please tell us your name, where you're calling from.
Yes, my name's Brock. I'm calling from southeast Missouri.
Hey, welcome to the show, Brock. What's the question for Rabbi?
Well, I like to go hunting every so often, as many people in Missouri do. If I take down a deer, because I know venison can be considered kosher, would it still be considered kosher if I shot it instead of slaughtering it correctly?
That is a very, very hot question, and there's going to be a lot of people.
Okay, so for starters, I'll just tell you off the bat, hunting is not a Jewish sport. Not telling you what to do. Hunting is a no-no in the Jewish religion. Now, but that wasn't your question. Your question was about the animal. The animal must be slaughtered. It cannot be shot. We learned that from the Torah, that an animal must be slaughtered. That's the only way it could be killed, to be kosher.
Is it because, why is that? Is it because it goes into shock if it gets shot?
Well, what happens is first of all, because the Torah says that it has to be slaughtered.
Right, that's true.
Now, the other things are, even the idea when they shock an animal, some say that it's not, that you can't slaughter it anymore, because what happens is when you frighten an animal, the heart shrinks. Now it has a heart problem. So the question is, it goes into the question is this animal healthy enough that it's kosher to slaughter? Because to slaughter, it has to be a healthy animal. It cannot be one that's sick, dying, that it will not live out the year. So when you shoot it, it's definitely not going to live out the year. And you cannot shoot, and even after one slaughters it, they can't shoot it. That was another thing that in other countries they had the issue. They're saying, well, after you slaughter it, then we'll shoot it. And that becomes a problem also, because when you shoot it, the blood, the blood doesn't drain properly, and now you have the problem of the blood that's not draining properly. So there are many no-nos to that. I'm sorry for ruining your Sunday that or for whatever it is you hunted.
Right.
I hope you'll forgive me. I didn't make up the rules.
So, Barak, are you Jewish? Have you converted? Are you thinking of converting? What's your background?
I actually called earlier whenever
That's
we
what I
were
thought.
Tovia Singer.
Yeah.
I attended my second class today.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I remember you saying that. Gotcha. So technically, if I can't.
So you're thinking about converting.
He's actually in the process of it now.
Okay. So if I was you, get used to the idea now, because these are like hunting is actually a no-no, because we're not allowed to torture animals. So it's a good practice to stop. I can't tell you. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but you read between the lines. Basically, it's against the Torah to hurt an animal, and that's why the way it's slaughtered is painless. I'll say the word relatively painless, because it's a quick and sharp, and they cut all the things that basically it's dead right away. It's not. There's no pain. It's
right. Yeah, there you go, Brock. Well, hey, man. What did he answer your questions thoroughly?
I actually do have another question, if that's all right.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, if hunting is out completely, what about trapping and fishing?
Trapping?
Trapping, where you actually don't kill the animal, you trap it and then slaughter it afterward.
Okay, and then fishing, where you catch fish with hooks, or because you really can't catch game fish with a cast net because it's illegal. So
it's a great question, actually, because the fishing, I know everybody goes fishing. Yeah. There is no slaughtering involved, and actually the blood of a fish is kosher, so there is no laws of how to kill a fish. A fish, as long as it has the kosher that has fins and scales, it's a kosher fish. You're allowed to do whatever you want with it. But animals, are you allowed to trap an animal? It's a good question. I will look into it.
Brock, I'm going to go ahead and hang up with you, and that will free open the phone lines. Thanks for calling.
If I will try to answer, I'll try to send you a text with the answer if I remember. Please remind me.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Brock. Appreciate it, Brad.
Thank you.
All right, take care. Bye. Yeah, that's a good question. Good question. Unfortunately. Oh, man. Yeah. I mean,
sport. People do that as a sport, and people don't realize that according to the Torah, it's forbidden to torture anything, torture a living thing. One has to be very careful. Even if you look at the Torah, it says when it comes to eating, you're supposed to feed your animals before yourself.
Right.
So the Torah is very respectful and very has a lot of mercy on living creatures.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so we will go the phone line's back on the screen now for everybody. So, so kind of going doubling back. So in my mind, I was picturing like for a person who doesn't have a dishwasher at all, or whatever the case may be. Let's say they got a dishwasher. Would it be smart for them to plan to have the dishwasher for all meat dishes and then just wash all their dairy dishes in the sink?
For what? For what they're no. Wait a second. Wait. A second. Because the sink, we didn't get to the sink. The dishwasher. If you mainly have meats, like we have, as I said, we have mainly meats. Comes the Shabbos, comes the holidays. It's always a meat meal. So we primarily have meat meals. So we have the kitchen set up as a meat kitchen. Now the sink is problematic. If you only have one sink, then you can't designate it for one or the other, because you have to wash. What happens if you have dairy dishes and you have meat dishes? Let's say, let's say breakfast and lunch, you always have dairy, and you're not using disposable. You don't want disposable. You want to use nice dishes, right? So now you have to have a means of washing it. So what some people do is they get two like inserts, like two buckets, one for meat and one for dairy, and they have separate sponges, separate scrubbers, everything separate. Right. For the meat and for the dairy. Unless if you have two sinks, you designate one for meat and one for dairy.
Gotcha.
That takes care of that. The stovetop is like this. It's a little tricky when it comes to a stovetop because it depends. Like today, a lot of people have this glass stovetop, those ceramic stovetops or whatever they're called, those glass ones.
Right.
It's a problem because how could you designate one for dairy? There's a lot of spritzing from when you're cooking meat. It's going to spritz on that.
Right.
So how could you guarantee that it's not going to screw that up? If you have a flame, like a gas range where it's a flame that's basically turn on the flame and it's going to burn the grate. So you kosher it as soon as you put it on. You're koshering it. Let it get really hot. You kosher it. Still designate one for don't use them all, for milk and dairy. You designate a corner or whatever, but before you use it, so you make sure to put it on that it sort of koshes it. So there you kosher because it's clean, and you have the flame that's going to kosher. When it comes to the glass top, you can't be so certain that it's not going to have, let's say, some chicken grease from something you made the other day, or whatever, meat grease or whatever that's sprayed on it. So that's where you get to run into a little problem.
Okay. That makes sense. Okay, and so what about your clean dishes? Do they have to be separated in the cabinets, or can they be
mixed? The reason why you separate them is very simple. You want to designate one cabinet for dairy, one cabinet for meat, so you don't screw up, because when you go to get the dish, you're not interested in picking it up and say, well, wait a second, what is this? This dairy, is this meat?
Looks like we're having a signal issue. Okay, let's see what happens. There we go. Yep, we're back.
So you have two separate cabinets, so you know that if I want a dairy meal, it's from this cabinet. The dishes, the glasses, the pitchers, whatever it is from this. I'm going to have meat from this cabinet. All the utensils for this cabinet. The drawers, the same thing. One drawer is set up for the dairy utensils, and one is set up for the meat utensils. We never mix them together.
Okay. Gotcha. Well, that was pretty much my questions for. My wife was. Oh, she's still here. Chris, did you have any kosher kitchen questions?
I don't do dishes. I'm sorry.
You don't remember what it was? Okay, if you think of it, let me know. Well, I think that would be a hands down no across the board, right? Oh, I have a question for you. They have this is my wife was talking about meat and cheese. That they have non-dairy meats that are available.
Correct.
Is that okay to have a non-dairy meat? I mean, non-dairy cheese with
non-dairy
like a burger?
Yes. Okay. It's actually a very good question. I'll tell you why. Because in Code of Jewish Law, it says if you have something that's powder, but it looks like a cheese or something like that, and you have guests at the table, you should put the package on the table so people don't think you're eating treif.
Oh, so they need to see what you're actually eating.
That's right.
With the label and everything. Gotcha.
So that you put the package down. Now, you don't have to bring out the entire case of tofu, or whatever the thing is. You don't have to bring out the entire case. You can just put out a little, the label, put it on the table somewhere, a nice display or whatever, just that people see that it's not real cheese, because otherwise people will start talking about you also. They'll say, well, he doesn't keep kosher.
Right. Gotcha.
So it's a good practice that even when we put out margarine, some say to put it out with the container so people see it's margarine, not butter.
Right. Gotcha.
Especially if people don't know each other, like I live in a small town. I don't know the level of kashrus that other people keep. So if I do go to somebody's house and suddenly I'm like, okay, we're having a meat meal and that's ravioli. What's in that one?
Right.
And it's white stuff. Is that tofu or is that cheese?
Mm-hmm.
Even before you taste it, some of them do taste very similar. Some of them are really good that you can't tell the difference. So, then you start like, okay, I can't eat in this house because I don't think they keep kosher.
Right.
And when it was perfectly kosher. So it's always a good practice to keep, and even if you don't want to bring out the package, let's say you have a nice set table, the last thing you want to do is start advertising for some miscellaneous company and the packages don't look that great. At least discuss it. Tell them right away this is a pirate product. Just tell the people that are there that it's not a dairy, so they shouldn't worry about it, that it is a pirate thing, so people don't panic.
Gotcha.
General, today's day and age, it's always good to tell people what they're eating anyway, because today there's so many allergies out there where people have.
That's very true. Yeah. Right.
Just whenever we have guests, we always make sure they don't have allergies. If we really hate the guests, then we try to make sure we give them all the. Not joking. Oh, you're allergic to peanuts? Oh, that's great. Okay, we'll give you peanut butter for dinner. Not joking.
Huh? Okay, another question for you. My wife just reminded me. I don't know if this is the same question that you have in mind. Oh, okay. Well, hang on to that because as we talk, you might become more clear. But you triggered another question that I have. After the caller, just remind me it's about eggs because we was fixing to end the show, but now we're getting some calls, so that's good. All right, caller, welcome to the show. Please tell us your name, where you're calling from.
Hello.
Hello, you are live on Kosher Kitchen with Rabbi Chayim Zirkind. Do you have a question for him?
Yes, Brock again.
Yes, Brock.
I have a question when it comes about wine. Is it okay if you make it yourself?
Yes. You can make your own. My father made his own wine. He didn't trust anyone. He made his own wine. He used to slaughter his own chickens. My father was one of those that did it all himself. So yes, you're allowed to make your own wine.
That's awesome.
Now, but let me tell you something. When you make your own wine, make sure that when you go through the conversion and all that.
Hold on just a second, Rabbi. Just a second. Would you turn your computer monitor down because it's coming back through pretty loud, Brock?
And that's what I just did.
Oh, cool.
I accidentally hit a button that turned it all the way up.
Oh, that's okay. Okay, good deal. All right, Rabbi, go ahead.
Okay, so when you go through the conversion, when you finish the conversion, the wine that you made now is history.
Ah, right.
Because once you become Jewish, that's when it applies all the laws of keeping kosher, of the tefillin and all that. So right now you're in a learning stage. So it's not you could make your own wine and it's fine. But when the person does become Jewish, that's when they have to realize that everything they made till then is problematic. Start from scratch. Now, when you do make your own wine, when a Jewish person makes his own wine, there should not be anybody that's not Jewish present at the time of making the wine. The reason is because actually wine is used for idol worshiping, for libations. So therefore, that's why it says that wine has to be certified kosher. That the ones that made it were Jewish, and that there was nobody other than Jews present and working with the wine.
Okay,
that
cool.
makes sense.
Yes, and to add to that whole topic, real quick, of wines and drinks, is that the reason why unflavored, like regular alcohol, like Jack Daniels or tequila, if it doesn't have any added special flavors, is that why that's automatically kind of kosher already? because it's not used in idol worship?
Because those alcohols are not, they're not used for, it wasn't used for libations.
Okay.
Wine was used, specifically wine. The problem with alcoholic beverages, when they say as long as it's not, because the problem is that sometimes they add wine for a flavor, and sometimes the barrels they use might have a non-kosher substance in it. So that's why they say don't get flavored. Like if it's flavored, it should be like even beer. If it's flavored, make sure it has a kosher mark on it, a kosher symbol on it.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Okay, good deal. All right, Brock. Great question again, as usual. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you.
Okay, take care. Bye. Okay, so we're going to make this the final question, final topic. So just for the record, I'm going to go ahead and close the phone lines now. See, log out. Yes. Okay, so, well, and maybe I might have to add another one for my wife, because if I don't, I'll be in the doghouse. But so this is going to be regarding eggs, like chicken eggs. I saw a post on Facebook that brought up some good questions. Fertilized eggs typically will have a spot of blood in them from whatever, I guess from being fertilized. I guess that's why. I'm not really sure. Some people say it's because of the color of the egg. Some color eggs don't have them, but I don't know. But anyway, so if you do have an egg that just simply when you crack it and you cook it, and let's say all of your eggs has the spot of blood in them because they're fertilized, because you've got a rooster, does that mean you can't eat the egg?
So okay, before we use an egg, we have to check the egg. Let's say you're making a cake, or you're going to make scrambled eggs. When you crack the egg, take a clear glass, and you check the egg. You make sure you look. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing, but you look all over to make sure there is no red dot in there. If there's a red dot, that's blood. Then the egg is non-kosher, because we're not permitted to have blood. We cannot. So that egg becomes treif.
Okay.
So we have to throw the egg out. Now, the tricky part is the glass has non-kosher in it. What do you do with the glass? So you can't wash it in your kosher sink, because the blood is going to transfer into the kosher sink. So you have to wash it in a utility sink or in the bathroom sink, something that's not where you don't use for food.
Okay.
So you have to check the eggs to make sure. Now, hard-boiled eggs, there are different opinions. Some say if you cooked a bunch of eggs, hard-boiled eggs. Now, when you cook eggs, the Code of Jewish Law says to cook an odd number, because that if you have, let's say, even and one is non-kosher, that makes the other one already non-kosher. If you have an odd number, like 3, so if one, you have 2 against the 1, so you're okay. It doesn't make it non-kosher. But some say that you do not have to check a hard-boiled egg, and some say you do have to check a hard-boiled egg. Those that check a hard-boiled egg, basically when they peel it, you can see a brown spot.
Okay.
And they claim that's blood, and that you have to check it. And some say you don't have to check a hard-boiled egg.
Interesting. Okay. Wow. Well, I'll tell you what. Did you think of your question? No? Okay. Maybe we'll put it on the next show. So, all right. Well, I'll tell you what. That's been some really excellent topics.
It's been real.
Yeah, and I definitely want to visit do a detailed show on tefillin and mezuzot. And I think that'd be pretty awesome. I know everybody's going to be interested in that for sure, because no one's even seen or knows any of the details. I'll say no one, that's not true. A lot of the viewers from TORAH Talk don't know the details of tefillin, and why there's a 4-pronged shin on the head and a 3-pronged shin on the arm.
Why? Well, they're both on the head, but why does one side have a 4?
Oh, it's on the opposite sides, right?
Right. Now, those are actually, they're like a yud. The prongs are actually what we call a yud.
Okay.
One has a 3 yud head, one has a 4 yud head.
Okay. Nice.
So we'll keep that for
that's pretty awesome. Well, looking forward to that for sure. So, well, very good. I'll tell you what, it's been a lot of fun. Can't wait to our next show. So we'll try to stick with the schedule every other week for now. Once I get the studio. For those of you who didn't see the last show, the details on a studio is we finally bought a building, but it's like a car. You buy it, but you're actually paying it off for 5 years. This is 5 years? No. 60 months, right? 5 years, same thing. So anyway, but we'll have the building just like you'll have the car. But it'll could take me 3 months or so to actually get it ready to record in. So once I'm in the studio, then I'll be recording every week again, like we were in the first 2 years of TORAH Talk. So.
Congratulations on your purchase.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Anybody want to contribute to that to help me get this thing paid for along the way, feel free to visit TORAHTalk.com and look for the donate tab, or go to patreon.com /TORAH Talk. And so, meanwhile, you can find Rabbi Chaim on Facebook, and the group is just simply called Kosher Kitchen, I believe, right?
It's Kosher Kitchen, yes.
Kosher Kitchen.
There's 2 of them, but it's Kosher Kitchen.
Yeah. So
I actually have I'm involved with several of them because I also post Torah lessons for our lives, I think it's called. Is that what it's called?
Right. Yep.
So I also post on that, so enjoy whatever you read. And if you have questions, feel free to ask. Don't just because somebody posts something, it doesn't mean that you can't question. The Torah is full of hints and secrets, and it's always good to ask questions. It makes us learn, it makes us understand why we do things. A person should never just assume that, it just says so, we have to do it. Yes, it does say so, but there's a reason, and if there is no reason, the Torah says there is no reason for it.
Wonderful. All right, Rabbi. Thank you, sir. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next time on the other side. Shalom, shalom.
Have a good day.